title of it, which says, I went through my spouse's phone and found out she doesn't love me. And this guy's seeking advice of all places, of course, on Reddit, which generally doesn't have the best advice, but we'll take a look at the comments in a second. Let me share the screen so we can go through this. And boom. Yes. Hi, chat. Happy Thanksgiving. Yeah, Canadian Thanksgiving was Monday this week. I think Americans call it Columbus Day, which I understand the Harris campaign is trying to change to something else. But anyway, yeah, we'll get to the Q&A stuff towards the end. I'll read this for those of you that are watching on a smaller screen or a mobile or something like that, and you can't read it. But the title says, I went through my spouse's phone and found out she doesn't love me. This is what happens when a plugged-in beta male marries what's essentially a alpha widow. Essentially, she doesn't have genuine burning desire for this guy. I'll break it all down for you as I go through it. It's a little bit of a slightly longer one. It's not too bad, but it's had a lot of activity on the Reddit platform. So I thought it'd be a good one to use as a discussion topic, if you will, because it was brought to my attention and I thought it was an interesting one. Coming on in, make sure you hit the thumbs up, helps out with the algorithms. It says, on a throwaway account for privacy, of course, first off, I understand I'm wrong and crossed the line, even potentially committed a crime, which I now have learned. I'm hoping to find advice on what my role my wife has played in this and how much is reasonable for her to take ownership of. First things first, if you're married, if you're in a long-term relationship, if you've got a woman that's asked for your commitment, you've taken vows in the church before God, blah, 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 and all that sort of stuff, there's no privacy. If you have suspicions of wrongdoings, of misgivings, of indiscretions, of her stepping out on you, you're well within your right to investigate them, to confirm them. It would be prudent to do so, given that family law is stacked against you as a man, given that women are hypergamous and they like to monkey branch. They usually don't leave a guy until they have another guy lined up. So right from the get-go, right from the opening paragraph, I can tell this guy is a plugged-in beta male. And I'll show you the 4 quadrants after this to sort of refresh you. I know a few of you are sort of newer to my channel, my content. Again, a lot of this is all built off the book, The Unplugged Alpha, which is on Amazon. If you haven't read it, definitely get it. Like I mentioned earlier, there's a few parts of the book where I cover a lot of the concepts that are going to show up here. Anyway, it goes on, it says, some backstory, which I'm happy to go into more detail if needed. He's 37, he's a male, obviously. Married to a 33 female. These are things that you have to clarify these days, apparently. They've been married for 5 years. They have 2 kids. Overall, he says our marriage has been unhealthy for most of it and has progressively gotten worse over the past year. So dude's been married for 5 years and still decides during the time where it's unhealthy to maintain the marriage, to put babies in her. He's got 2 kids, so put one after the other in her, have a couple. Like if you have a bad relationship with a chick, one of the worst things you can do is start having kids with her. Because once you start having kids, family law now encroaches more into your life. Initially, it's split half your assets. Then it's split half your assets plus she gets custody of the kids and money starts flowing. More money starts flowing from you to her because of the way family law works and how she's going to typically alienate you and want custody and how all those things sort of mechanically operate. But they've got 2 kids. And he's saying pretty much for the entire time, what word to use? He used unhealthy for most of it, and then continues to say it's progressively gotten worse over the past year. Okay. Poor conflict resolution and communication about issues. Let's see if he talks about love languages. Poor communication, resolution, and communication about issues we feel strongly about. I went through a bout of depression when our second child was born. Home life was stressful. Relationship with wife was becoming non-existent. I'm assuming he means the intimacy part. When intimacy goes away, it's over. You're done. Usually leading up to the decline or the elimination of intimacy completely is what's called contempt. And contempt is the countdown to the end of a relationship. When a woman expresses contempt for you over and over again, that might be something like, Bill, you're an idiot. Why can't you help me with the children? You're a moron. You can't load the dishwasher properly, blah, blah, blah. That's what it would look like. And a lot of guys will experience that. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. He had a bout of depression when her second child. This is usually something that women go through. Like postpartum is typically female. It's because of the imbalance of hormones. Why a guy would go through this, maybe he's low T. I don't know. I mean, anyway, home life was stressful. Relationship with wife becoming non-existent. I tried understanding and supporting during newborn phase, but could have been better. He's taken a lot of blame for this right off the bat. It's my fault. I could have been better. I shouldn't have looked at her phone. I went through a bout of depression. Yeah, like you suck, dude. I mean, honestly, women are going to have a very, very difficult time. I'm not going to use the word don't, are going to have a very, very difficult time looking up to you, admiring you, and respecting you if you're weak and soft, if you're plugged in beta male. And again, I'll go to the 4 quadrants after this once I finish, just to explain that again. Work environment, blah, blah, blah. Sorry, I tried to be understanding and supported during the newborn, and work environment became very toxic. I have been to individual counseling previously, and we did a short bout of couples therapy, but discontinued because wife didn't feel it was helpful, right? She admits to not being interested in therapy and mainly went for me. I have felt increasingly insecure about my marriage, low self-esteem, and extremely lonely at home. When a chick, what words to use? Therapy mainly for me. When a chick would use some sort of word salad or soundbite that amounts to mostly went to therapy for me, like people do this sort of stuff to say, well, I tried. At least I went through the motions, so I won't be judged. And the last thing women want in life is to be judged, right? Like their reputation is very, very important. I've talked many times about reputation management. You should go to the Entrepreneurs in Cars channel and search for reputation management. You'll see a few videos there for sure if you search on the channel bar itself. Therapy, okay. Last year, wife started a new job. Now, going back to the earlier paragraphs he was talking about, it's gotten progressively worse in the last year. Well, what's happened in the last year? She's got a new job. She's in a new work environment. Let's find out what happens over there. She starts making new friends at work. One of the wife's coworkers was married with many side pieces. And when my wife described this coworker to me, my wife made a remark along the lines of, maybe that's just how people stay happily married. Isn't that interesting? Now, he doesn't distinguish whether or not this coworker is male or female, because in today's world, almost all plugged in beta males sort of set that aside. It's like a whitewash. You start hearing a lot of like non-binary terms like my partner. A lot of times you'll read some of these posts and they'll make reference to the person they're talking about as their partner, because they don't want to say my wife or my husband or my boyfriend or my girlfriend. So a lot of the times it's very difficult to get to the bottom of a lot of this with the language that's used, because they're so non-binary and progressive and stuff. But anyway, wife making a comment about a coworker stepping out in their marriage with many side pieces by saying maybe that's just how people stay happily married. Not women. Women can't step out and have multiple side pieces and be happily married. It's impossible. It's impossible for them genetically. Their DNA does not allow them to be able to fall in love with multiple people simultaneously. Men can easily step out, have exercise with a whole bunch of women very easily, and come home and love their wives and families. And I've said that many times. People disagree with me, yet I've had nobody come in on a live show, call in, and have a debate with me on it, because it's impossible for them to win that one. But we'll see if one day somebody actually has the balls to do that, or the gumption. Anyway, so wife says that's how people stay happily married in accordance to her views with coworkers. Moving on, having already been insecure about us, I decided to go through her phone. As you should, because that's where you'll find the answers to the questions that you're asking. When you have uncertainty in a long-term committed relationship where marriage is basically that. You go to a church, you take your vows, you go before a judge, you take your vows, whatever it happens to be. It's considered a commitment. In the past, when you got married was the first time that you had sex. Today, when you get married, that's when you're supposed to stop having sex with other people, right? Like that's how things are supposed to go today. Whereas in the past, it was a little bit different. Anyway, going through her phone. And he says, while there were no acts of infidelity, and we should clarify that, there was no factual evidence of infidelity yet. I did find plenty of slander about me. So what did we talk about earlier? Contempt. Slander is a form of contempt. And if she's talking shit about him, whether it's to him or to other people, that is a form of contempt. I've said this before. A good person that is a friend, is a reliable wife, lover, girlfriend, whatever it is you want to call it, will talk shit to your face. Like your good friends will talk shit to your face, right? Rich, nice shirt. Does it come in men's? That's a woman's car. Blah blah blah. Like they'll poke at you, right? But when you're not in the room and you're not within earshot, they will always defend you. In this instance, she's talking shit. And anybody that talks shit about you behind your back is not reliable, is not something that you want in your life, regardless of whether or not they're your wife, your girlfriend, a good friend, a business partner, an associate, whatever it happens to be. Somebody talks shit about you to other people and you hear about it or you read about it as you're going through, their phone. Here we go. This is where it starts to get interesting. Anyway, I did find plenty of slander about me in addition to her discussing a previous partner. Again, dorks like this won't use the word boyfriend, fiance, lover, whatever it happens to be. They'll go partner. They'll slam that very vanilla non-binary term in there.